Yeah, these 4 words cost me $3,200, but from a day trader, day trading, whatever you want to call it, psychology standpoint, very, very valuable lessons here that I wish I didn't want to share with you through my own personal results. But hey, you know what? If it can help you out, if it can offer you up a reminder of how bad things can get when you use these 4 words, then you know what? I'll consider this a successful video and in a weird way, a successful trade. So this just happened today, and unfortunately, I was not doing a live trade video. I didn't have the software going. And as I explained in those videos, I don't do those every day because they are actually very difficult to make because they are live. So I didn't have the video or didn't have any of this live, but I still wanted to come back with it and share it with you because again, there is some valuable learning lessons in it, even though it makes me kind of look like a schmuck. And on that note, if you appreciate the transparency, if you appreciate the fact that I'm sharing this loss with you and sharing some learning lessons to remind you of, then please hit that like button. Little things like that go a long way because yeah, I'm not even going to try to act like I enjoy or even want to post this video, but it's just something that needs to be talked about here. So as you see on the screen here, and I know it looks a little bootleg because I'll reveal some more as we go, but like I said, just to set up the context of the day, the first trade that I made was on NKTX, and it was essentially nothing. Made $12 on it, and then Tesla came along, and I wanted to play a call on it, and what ultimately happened was this. I got in, I was watching, observing, following the rules. Okay, Clay, it's time to get out. You're looking at, and I can't say this for sure, but let's just call it right around a $400 loss. Clay, yeah, you need to get out, $400 loss. But then I didn't, and then all of a sudden 400 became 500, 600, 700, as I see the unrealized profit and losses. And then these 4 words showed up. I can fix it. I got this. So let's break down some psychology here. Where is this coming from? And in what forms does it take? Well, let's talk about forms. In this situation, the form was, well, you know what? If I can lower my cost basis, if I can get my price closer to the current price, then hey, you know what? I'll be able to fix it. But, I can fix it. In other words, averaging down. And there's a big difference between averaging down and position building. In this situation, the strategy was not to build any sort of position. It was to either be right or be wrong and get out, but it was not to build any sort of position. So in this situation, it was flat out, you know what? Let me average down. Let me fix it by doing this. Now, for you, maybe have you ever had these words, I can fix it, and then your fix is, well, let me just lower my stop loss a little bit more because I can fix it because if I give it a little bit more wiggle room, things will work out. Okay, well, let me lower it down some more. And then before you know it, you keep lowering it down, and then it turns into some sort of hold and hope situation. Have you been there? Did I just maybe read your mind? Ask me how I was able to read your mind. Yeah, I've done that one before in the spirit of I can fix it. And as crazy it is, been in the markets for almost 20 years now. I think this is the one that is always the biggest temptation for me because trading is very hard because it's such a fine line of you have to be confident, but you can't let that confidence turn into arrogance, turn into cockiness. And that's what I can fix it actually is. It's where your confidence has morphed into flat out arrogance, flat out cockiness, where you're like, okay, I can fix it. But let's think about the whole premise of fix it. What do you have to fix? Well, you have to fix things that are broken. What was broken for me today? Well, the fact that my trade plan, and I'm the one that broke it by not honoring the rules, not honoring the strategy itself. I should have gotten out at 400. I didn't. And then all of a sudden I realized things are broken because that loss is getting bigger and bigger. In my mind, that should have been $400. All right, let me fix this. I can fix it. But that's just ego, right? That's purely ego at that point for me to think that I'm going to be able to fix. Now, to be fair, in many situations, you are able to fix it. You, quote unquote, fixing it, attempting to fix it, things turn out okay. You end up having a winner. You end up having maybe a break, but you ultimately do fix it from a P&L standpoint. But from a habits perspective, from a psychology standpoint, that's no good because what's going to happen the next time? Well, I wanted to fix it last time and I did fix it. So you know what? I'm going to fix it again. But this form shows up over and over And then all of a sudden you find yourself in an unfixable situation. What does an unfixable situation look like? Well, let's take a look at Tesla. I'm not going to go to the details of the trade because that's besides the point. The point is just the general framework of my mindset, of the psychology that, led me to ultimate destruction with that trade. But yeah, I decided to try to start to fix things. Again, ballpark up around that area. And you can see that unfixable. Many cases it will, but all it takes is one of these. And that led to a whole lot of pain. I mean, an absolutely crazy, brutal move. And again, should have been, give or take, $400. But when I decided to say those 4 words and then got caught, and let me rephrase that. I didn't get caught. I allowed myself to get caught in all of this because, I got caught makes me seem like the victim. Like, I just got caught. No, Clay. You let yourself get caught. And I should note that I'm recording this the day it happened. So all these emotions are fresh in my mind, but I want to get it recording even though, so by the time it goes live on Wednesday, yes, it won't be that day. But point here being is I wanted to make this video when the emotions were still raw and I'm still processing it all. But point here being is I allowed myself to get caught. I tried to fix it. And like I said, this is an unfixable situation. And that ultimately allowed to getting crushed in that trade. And my point here is this. Yes, in many situations, you will be able to fix something. But why are you having to fix something? That's the question that I'm constantly having to remind myself whenever it pops up. And most times, I'm good. Okay, because it just takes a few of these, and I think this is why over the years, the YouTube channel has been here since 2013, and I've done other videos like this where I talk about losses and some frustration, but these kind of help me to if I publicly talk about it, get my public lashing, if you will, then it helps to refresh me on this. But this is because I'm a competitive person. I'm a person that, I can do it. I can get it. I'm ambitious. I want to get stuff done. And I'm sure that's the same for many of you watching this because that's a required characteristic. If you're going to try this day trading stuff, you better be a passionate. You better be a driven. You better be a competitive. You better be an ambitious person because stuff is not easy at all. But this is where one of those situations where the competitiveness, the ambition, lied to me. It led me astray, and when it was actually ego the whole time. Because yes, you got to be confident as a trader, no doubt about it. But it's very easy for that confidence to materialize into cockiness and arrogance, and then this is the result of it. Because once again, and I know I'm repeating myself, but I want to drive this home, is I will admit, lots of times you will be able to fix things. But my point here is all it takes is one unfixable situation, and you're looking at a way bigger loss than it actually needed to be. So just be aware of that. If you find yourself fixing things over and over again, well, first off, that's telling you that, well, why are you having to fix things? Because they're broken. Why are they broken? Because you keep breaking the rules of your system in the first place, which is a huge red flag. So, right there, if you're always having to fix things, like I said, be aware, and it's okay. I'm not saying this like you're a bad trader. I'm just saying it from one trader to another. We got to be self-aware. We got to be aware of our psychology. And if we're being honest with yourself and seemingly constantly having to quote unquote fix things, even if you are fixing them, again, ask yourself, wait, why am I having to fix things all the time? And I think that's going to take you down a pathway that'll ultimately prove out to be very beneficial for you. But now here's the kicker. And I think this may be what stings the most from a mental standpoint. Now, from a numerical standpoint, yeah, obviously the $3,200 loss, not good. But from Clay, you know better. And once again, what you know proved to be true. So what do I mean? So let's show how the rest of the day played out. That trade right there actually, and let me take a step back. The one thing I did do right, as backwards as it sounds, is I did keep trading, but I acknowledged, okay, Clay, probably shouldn't necessarily be trading, but as you saw on the chart there, Tesla, it was a crazy day. There are opportunities all over the place, and you just can't pass up those sorts of days because today was not normal. And when you have those, you got to try to take advantage of them. But the one thing that I did do right was that I went super small in my position size because I did also realize, okay, Clay, you're definitely, it was a fine balancing act. So the one thing is if you insist, if you say, I have to keep trading after some sort of loss, you better reduce position size in a big way. But here's, you know better, Clay, right? This is what you know, Clay, proved to be true. So I got back in my mindset of, all right, don't fix stuff, Clay. Don't break rules. Follow a strategy. Follow things. But you got to do it with a reduced position size. And let's just say that I had kept that at 400. But this is how that one ultimately turned out. Let me get that out of the way. Ultimately lost $2,700 on it. So in other words, I did recoup some of those gains. But then here is the rest of the day, which turned out to see, you can see right there, some respectable trades. Now, of course, some of them weren't that much because, again, reduced position size. But when I think about it, what happens if that was just the negative $400 trade that it should have been? I'm looking at a very, very nice green day on reduced size even. And it just goes to show what I always talk about on this channel, and which is why I'm throwing myself out there for the public lashing, because I failed to do it today because I tried to fix things. Had I just managed risk from the get-go, I would have been looking at an awesome day, and quite frankly, a bigger day, because if this is what was generated from reduced position size, I would never have had to reduce position size had I just cut the loss in the first place, because I wouldn't have broken anything. I would have taken a loss, but okay, whatever, it is what it is. I followed the rules, and then I would have continued on with more so normal share size. So I mean, all these gains would have been even bigger. But even throwing that aside and just doing it with small size, that's how many opportunities were out there today. I mean, it was it was possible to put together some really nice trades. Now the 775, that was a few different trades, but point here being is, with reduced size, I would have wiped away that $400 loss and had myself a good, solid green day. However, I broke rules. I then tried to fix it, aka I didn't manage risk. And now I'm looking at being down $1,850 on the day with commissions. Let's just call it $1,900. So ultimately, big picture wise, $1,900, I'll be fine. I'm not looking for pity. I'm not saying that, okay, account blown up, nothing like that. I can chip that away. In fact, depending on how long you've seen the channel, you've seen me make over $1,900. Now, it's going to take a while. I'm not expecting to get this back in a day or two. Maybe 3 days, I can see that as a possibility. That's not my goal, but I could see even 2 days in all actuality. But, that's unseen because, I don't know. Let's see how the market continues to play out. And if there's some great opportunities, then, it could very well be a couple days. But point being, it's not like I blew up my account. It's not like, everything is ruined. Nothing like that. But it could have been a green day had I just managed risk. And that's what irks me the most, is what I preach, what I know. That's why I know it, because it actually worked. But the problem is I didn't do it. So I can fix it. Don't avoid those words. I don't care how many times you have been able to fix something. Take it from me. All it takes is find yourself in one unfixable situation, and then you're in a world of hurt, and then you can still have a good day, and you can still be down quite a bit. So hopefully this helps, and hopefully I wasn't whiny. I was trying to keep it somewhat uplifted here, but at the same time, I'm not going to act like, oh yeah, I love losing. It is frustrating, but it's my own fault, and I know better. So I want to encourage you that if you've been there, if you've done it, you're not alone. I've been trading, like I said, almost 20 years, and this stuff still gets me from time to time. And I would argue that even if it does still get to you from time to time, it doesn't mean you're a bad trader. It's just because you have to be ambitious. You have to be competitive to do this stuff. And part of being competitive is, I'm going to keep at it. I'm going to fix it. But that goes against us as competitive, as compassionate, as driven human beings, which again is required. And it just, take my word for it, it's not worth it. Just cut the loss, honor the risk, and live to fight another day. Or as I say oftentimes, sometimes you just got to survive so that you can ultimately thrive. But today I did not survive. And then when I started to thrive, in a sense, that thriving still had me in the hole, which, like I said, I think is the most frustrating part. So again, like I said, if you appreciate the transparency, if you appreciate just, me sharing this sort of stuff, like I said, hit the like button. That goes a long way, and it encouraged me to just, just to keep it real here. And that's what I wanted to do. But at the end of the day trading is not easy. as you can see here. And all it takes is one little slip up, one little mental trick that you play on yourself, such as, I can fix it, and you can find yourself in a bad situation. But overall, like I said, hit that like button if you appreciate it. Check out the channel as a whole, and hopefully decide to ultimately become a subscriber. But I'm not going to ask for you to subscribe after watching one video, but I will say, hey, I'd encourage you to check out the channel as a whole. And then at that point, if you like what you see, then I'd love to have you as a subscriber. So everybody take care. Have a good one. And yes, I can fix it. Those are evil, evil words. First off, thanks so much for watching the entire video. Real quick, before you go, I want to invite you to a live webinar, web class, training, workshop, online event, whatever you want to call it, but it will be me live revealing to you what I've discovered that has allowed me to transform myself from being an employee to being my own boss, including how I had only one losing day out of 73 days in total. I'm going to cover 3 keys that have helped me unlock profitable consistency within the markets. The first key is super weird, but in a productive type of way. The second key is super awesome because it quite literally is wired into our DNA as humans, making it very easy to use. But in a cruel way, this becomes a pitfall for many traders. I'll explain it all though, including how to avoid the pitfall that it creates for some. And yeah, the third key, when you hear it, sounds way too good to be true, but it's not, and I'll show you how it all works. Then at the end, I open it up for a question and answer session that is, again, totally live. Even if you can't make the live session, please still sign up as it will be recorded, and you can go back and watch the replay that I will send you. Click the image on the screen or click the link down in the description box so you can get the date and time and claim your spot, which I should note is limited due to the fact that this truly is a live event. If you have any questions, let me know. If not, I'll be seeing you soon.